And like that, it all starts to fall into line and connect in my head. So I've been thinking a lot about the topic of suicide, not personally per se, but but more just generally as well as that. And it's sort of like, okay, so I call it I call suicidal people sort of catastrophic dreamers. And I guess that's based on my own understanding of things, based on everything, I guess, from this year, because I have read a few suicide notes this year, and it's very interesting. Um, because there's a consistency to it, and it's like there's constantly this sort of trapped inside one's own head, and I could directly quote one, but doesn't exactly seem right to do that. So it's like, it's like it's people that are trapped inside their own head, I think, to a certain degree. But, that also doesn't go and explain, like slow suicide, which it's like, you know, I was talking to Shane yesterday, or whenever it is, time kind of doesn't mean anything anymore. But it's like, just catastrophic dreamers, or I guess loners in catastrophic mind, like the Green Day song says. And I'm getting coffee, so that's what that noise right there is. But it's like, especially from my own understanding of this, it's like, there, it's very interesting. It's almost, it's entirely dreamlike, especially because, like, whenever someone shoots themselves, it's like, it's, how do I describe it? Because I can't describe how it is when someone shoots themselves. I don't know. I've never been shot. I've never shot myself. But it's like, there's this break from everything, because it's like, you just, I guess it's kind of just not caring anymore, and that sort of gives more meaning to the delusion that this is all, like, it's an escape. It's an escape from the dream. Because it's a dream that you're awake for constantly. The only actual escape from it is, when you're asleep. And even then, it's like, at a certain point, I think a lot of people do have just too much built up around them, and they really just can't keep going with it. Like, just too much to handle, maybe. And it's like, that's understandable. It is. But what I'm thinking of is more like I said, it's in their head. And it's like people that, people that shoot themselves, they take off their shoes for some reason. And I know this because, I knew one of the people. Not really, but sort of. But it's like, they took off their shoes. Then I was talking with some homeless people that was friends with, and they were telling me about this person that they knew, which about a mile from where I am right now, there's a little bus stop. He apparently, this year too, they saw him. He seemed alright, but then he walked down to the bus stop right there, sat down, took his shoes off, and blew his fucking brains out. And it's like, why do people take their shoes off when they shoot themselves? I can't figure it out, but it's also like, well, I mean, I guess they might fly off either way, depending on how much reverberation goes through the body from the bullet, but it's like, how much of that would, like, why take your shoes off? I mean, it just seems, I don't know. I don't get why take your shoes off for that. Like, is it a formality? Like, is it, like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you're gonna die, why not just, like, least have some shoes on just in case, like, on the off chance maybe like Greek mythology is real and you wake up and all of a sudden at that maybe you don't want to, maybe you also want to put like a $50 under your tongue, whatever equates to Charon's currency to ferry you to the underworld. But, just loners in a catastrophic mind. That's, I think, the takeaway from it. And it's like, people people kill themselves, but it's like, I don't think anybody gets it because we're the only animal that fucking kills themselves. Like, primates can be incredibly self-destructive, don't get me wrong, but we're really the only ones that have any sort of impulse to actually, like, go out of our way to not just kill ourselves personally, but commit sort of a species suicide. But, yeah.